Good evening, everyone. System Chalk here with, I think we're on to the 19th episode of the Physician playing as Lord Percival Stabbe. You'll probably detect this from the lumpy intro, but I'm actually quite sick, and I've run out of time for putting it off on recording these, so I must apologize. The next couple of episodes might be a little uneven, but I'm going to do my best with what I've got, but I apologize in advance. So, we're currently working on some evidence. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I'm out of summons, but we were resummoning the Percussagant? Yes, okay. So, if everything works well, we should have it in time for the expedition, but, excuse me. It's possible that either this will fail or the Percussagant will get loose, at which point we need to do a summoning again. So this would suggest to me that I probably want to go to the Mansus and get an influence. I'm a little curious why I wouldn't have done that before, so I'm just going to take a quick second here and see if there's anything suspicious on the board. Excuse me. Doesn't look like it. So, let's go to the stag door and see if we can maybe get a knock, or... Actually, a knock would be best because we're not sure whether or not we're going to need a Percussagant or a Callagine. The stag door is the Adept's Gate. To pass it is to be initiated into the first true mystery of the House of the Sun. The head Gerby weeps to see me enter where it cannot, but it must let me pass. The scarred doors of the valves of the door grind open. One of our priorities still is to try and get either a pigment or a new edge tool, assuming that any more exist. What were we up to? Wisdom is a country, and these are its maps. So we do need both the erudition and glimmering now. We should have access to both. And our first location in the Lone and Level Sands. Here was a place sacred to the gods of Earth until a meteor fell on a winter's night. In time, worshippers crept back to its broken ruins. I'm so sorry. I'm really debating as to whether or not I should have recorded this. Sorry. In time, worshippers crept back to the broken ruins. In time, the meteorite itself came to be worshipped as a bringer of dreams. The old altar may yet remain somewhere beneath the meteorite's lair. So we'll head there almost immediately. I'm tempted to use another Vagabond's map, but this really depends on whether or not one of these items fails. Wait word, and that looked like a rebellious entry. Yep. In my sleep, I ran my fingers along the ridged edges of the stag door's scars. Our company it was that shattered it, Gerby says suddenly. Before the gods who were flesh, the Mansus was forbidden to mortals. We were the first no. He begins again to weep his molten tears. I wish that we had not. I wish that I had died in the world. I've forgotten what else he said, but I remember the shape of the fissures in the stag door, and for all of today, doors will fear my touch. So we're going to use reason to get rid of it right away. In this case, we have the subtle rupture, and I just don't see any point in risking it. If we lose the Callagine, that's particularly unfortunate, and I'm going to have to come up with another approach. But we do know we have a summoning ahead of me, so I can go and check out another Lone and Level Sands location. We are not immune from having sort of one of these renegades ninja the location from us, but I am at least going to... we've minimized it by having a snare, and it does mean that I'm going to need to use my talk verb to get a replacement as soon as possible. We need erudition. And we did successfully get rid of the evidence, which is good. Moth finds light in the dark, and so do I. I'm going to talk to the to the Callagine right away, so I do want to talk to my edge follower as soon as possible for a snare, but I don't have any place to put the Callagine for now, so I'm going to wait a little while, at least until I can get my work slot open again. Well, I guess now I need to wait until the talk is finished, but... Right, it's gone, we are safe. So, right off the bat, we're going to summon that percussigan. Again, I'm sorry for all the unwelcome noises. I'm trying to do my best with what I've been given. Let's get Rose to help out. The percussigan, merciless and merry. Heart will bring it, edge will constrain it. Wolf despair prowls elsewhere. No dread empowers this despair. It's over for now. So I do need to figure out what I want to do with the restlessness. I couldn't use it in a summoning, unfortunately. But we should be able to... Well, we can prolong it for now, but... Raptures of understanding. My lover and I contend in the spaces above and beneath the flesh. I must match their intensity. Together we are brighter. So I don't see much point in going to the Mansus again. We will possibly have to do something with the hapless prisoner, but for now I think we'll just keep things simple. Again, I'm sorry. The river, wrote the sage Mech in the Book of the Centipede, runs through the sands out of myth and into legend. This is the place the centipede was born, they say. Sorry. The sands of which Mech wrote hide perilous curiosities. And we have Messana, which, if I recall correctly, this is the place cursed by the vagabond? I'm pretty sure, anyway. And there's the glimmering. So after 4 seconds, I'm going to use this verb with my edge follower. So Eldritch will lay the snare. So rivals are cautious. They don't prowl the streets like hunters. To defeat one, we must prepare a trap and await our opportunity. So we'll try and paint away the restlessness if things work out with the summoning. Enid prefers to close her eyes rather than look at me. She says it hurts to look. She says it with such longing that I can't take offense. So I've got a contentment if I need it, passionate memory, so this will help if I need to unpack. And we've got a season of sickness coming up, so the trembling airs will help us out unexpectedly. Alright, I might have found somewhere unusual. So we're not going to use Strange by Moonlight for the next little while. I don't have much of a use for it. That's really, at this point, I want to use it for an expedition, but we've got about 8 seconds for the summoning before we can take advantage of it. First the thump, the rattle and cry of the ceremonies it attends in the wood. Now here it is, shouldering its way through the world's skin like a clawed and ruthless uncle or a headless flapping bear. Alright. So we need to do something with the restlessness. I mean, I could let it decay to dread, but it's a bit of a waste in my opinion. So we don't have any staleness to worry about, but we do ultimately have... we don't really have that much reputation to work with. So we'll have an even split between notoriety and passion. I'll fade away my restlessness. Should have an impact. And I'll leave the vitality off to the side, so we're keeping the dream slot open so that I can cure the affliction when it comes. But most importantly, we've got the vault. A star fell in the deep desert. It did not quite destroy the sacred place it struck. The treasures of the old altar may remain hidden beneath the grave of the star, but we must approach the star cautiously. It still resonates with energies from outside the world. So the notoriety is going to be a bit of a liability here. I could try and do something with the Weary Detective, but I think I'll probably let the evidence be formed, and then we can use the Callagine. Actually, come to think of it. Okay, we've got the Perilous Snare, and we've got our events now. So we have the Fifth Eye Curse, Heart and Winter. We need Forge or Grail for the Desert, and then Lantern or Knock for the door. So we actually need quite a few extra bodies. We'll start with the Forge. This one's going to be kind of hard for dividing the different attentions that I need, but we'll work on it. Now, thinking about the Weary Detective, they're going to get taken up. So there's really nothing that I can do about the notoriety at this point. So we're back to the original plan. I see the mistakes, but I can also see the end. This is something special. It may provoke a reaction. Recent work is considered significant. I may yet earn a living from this, but nothing is certain. So I guess we do have the little mystique to carry us over, but I don't think that's going to make much of a difference. No staleness, but then again, we didn't get a lot of money either. So, all right. Just before I make a move on anything else, I am getting a little short on cash, but now might be the time for me to do another commission. Just, I have access, or I have the ability to do it right now, so let's get the moth done. And I've increased my knowledge of the secret histories behind the one that we know, so this is just an unresolved ambiguity. I will eventually move these up to Vagabond's maps, but we do need to improve our headquarters, which I think I was going to do last time and forgot to, or had other priorities, but we will move on to changing the HQ. We should have done that quite a bit earlier. Oh, I remember why. I think I was doing this one because I had the Glimmering and Erudition on the table, so there was no point in wasting it. Okay. This one is all ready to go. So the Atlas of Dreams, the shape of the world changes in each past, but the shape of the Mantis is reflected in all of them. One cannot map the Mantis, but one can make an attempt to map its reflections. Oh, hang on. This is already this is an artifact. So I can use it for a location, but I need to put that in the Explorer. Plus, we're going for level 12, so it's not that important. So in this case, we will translate the work. Knock the steady door, the work begins. Okay, so we've already got the forge that we need. So in this case, I'm actually going to add the funds because it's going to... Basically, I'm going to get an idea about what the next challenge is. But again, it's going to be a little... risky. Actually, you know what? I'm going to approach it differently. I'm actually going to start prepping all the other positions. So let's start with winter. The illness has damaged my health, but for a minute. Alright, my follower has set a perilously cunning ambuscade, one that will almost certainly succeed. Okay, so I was going to do something with the talk verb. I can't talk to the Weary Detective to get rid of them. We're going to have to let the notoriety sort of hit us we know that they will see the notoriety. There's no way of avoiding it, but we don't know if it'll produce evidence yet. So I guess turning in the commissions makes the most sense off the top. Then repairing the mirror, maybe? Oh, they didn't take long. I've received the currency of the secret world, and my patron has let tantalizing information slip. So there is the possibility that we can turn these commissions into upgrades to our lore. So I have what the doctor requested. And we do have the erudition, so I think it would be a good time for me to upgrade the unresolved ambiguity when the time comes. Again, I'm really sorry about this. I have a suspicion that it's been very cold out, so I've sort of wrapped myself in a blanket for a lot of the streams, but I have a feeling that either it's because it's brushes against my chair, which is very dusty. I've since fixed that, but it might be something that's irritating me in the blanket. Anyways, I will maybe see if I can take a break before recording the next one, so you don't have to deal with a miserable broadcaster. We're still in the affliction, but my present affliction is going to exceed the life of the one that Lord Stabbe is dealing with. All right. Not a lot of reason to paint at the moment. We can, of course, always make the more powerful artifacts with it, but in this case, I think it would not be a bad time to try and replenish some of our financial resources. So there's a dank and clinging smell in the Institute halls that never quite leaves one. Perhaps it is the paint, perhaps it is the patience, and perhaps it is something in the walls. Alright. Voyages of Furnishing of Oriole, a travelogue of sorts. Furnishing clearly visited the Mansus, sailing the length of the painted river. He also claims to have traversed a sea of finest sand, to have dared of the blazing waves of the sun's surface, and to have descended to an underworld ocean lit by lamps of black nephrite. Back to full health. Okay, so it says we're planning for the next round. So what I'll do here, I think we said we've got the winter, the other thing that we'll need, right, so harder winter, and then for the door we need lantern or knock. So let's add sleeve. So in this case here, I will still need to add money, but in this case I now have one of each sort of, I have one of each principle that I will need, so I can bring the followers in on short notice. Okay, so this is a bit unlucky for us because we have got another season of Suspicion coming up in 49 seconds. If I'm lucky, we will... No, you know what? I bet we're going to get hit by the expedition. But yeah, if we're lucky, we might be able to dodge the consequences with the notoriety, but it's possible this will be turned into damning evidence quite soon, so I'm certain that my adversary has lodged a copy of their notes elsewhere, with their solicitor, with their superior, or even with a contact in the press. This is troubling. Alright. I should be... So I was originally going to talk with Saliba about getting another prisoner, but I don't think that makes a lot of sense right now. Actually, the mystique that I have is going to sink me. That's definitely going to be how we wind up with another... with a damning evidence. So let's get Dorothy on the case. If you're wondering why I brought Winter, it's for this very eventuality in case we needed to use Heart. What am I doing here? Not everyone is sympathetic to our aims, but if we have problems with our reputation, our disciple can probably smooth them over. Call upon the watchman who navigates. Our senses are sharpened. We should find this hidden door. So we'll add Cat Caro to make that a certainty. But we need to make sure we add money next. So this is one of these cases where I'm a bit indifferent as to whether or not it's notoriety or mystique that gets picked up. It's as long as we reduce the total number of reputation on the table. Alright, Furnishing's final voyage is to retirement on a peaceful island across the evening sea, where he identifies a spring whose waters will keep him safe. I will be forgotten, he declares, and this work my only trace. Nice. Alright. So I don't want to be getting any more Port Noon anecdotes until I use this one, but it'll be helpful. Port Noon is where the long go to enjoy the sea and the sun, to drink from the spring that makes them forgotten, and to stay out of trouble. Mostly out of trouble. The stories you can hear in the Hotel Ciervo are golden dewed, quintuple distilled toasts to memory, served straight up. Okay, study-wise, I think we said we were going to try our luck with the unresolved ambiguities. We might have taken too long because the erudition's about to expire, but let's do our best. Okay, so we've lost the notoriety, which is good. We will still get a new one from the expedition, but hopefully we can kill the mystique early. And I will get some new commissions when I can. Okay, supplies are low. Unless I send more funds, we will have to abandon the expedition. So if the erudition is first, we should be fine. If it's not, we will fail the upgrade. Alright, no one understands us, or else they understand us too well. Now I am at a point where I'm going to need to start rebuilding the new Snare, so I think I'm just going to have to accept that bad things sometimes happen, and I am going to get that Snare built. Actually, before I do that... Well, no. I was thinking we might want to go immediately into Manassa, but we won't if we want to get rid of evidence. So, and I do need to keep an eye on my prisoner. More importantly, I don't just need to keep an eye on my prisoner, but I need to find another way of getting another one. Okay, Season of Visions. So, again, I think we still get hit with the reputation. Nope, we carry enough heart aspect to quell the curse. Probably. Wait, really? Oh, I wasn't thinking. I didn't need to bring 2 heart. I just need to bring the 1. Alright, we're strong enough in heart to be almost entirely secure against the curse. For some reason, I brought up percuss again, too. For some reason, I thought we were empty on heart and winter, so I actually didn't need to bring the winter. I would have just needed to bring the 1, and we would have been able to change the... we would have been able to do the other activity. That was my bad. I'm pretty sure we're going to lose the glimmering before we can use it. The curse clings. There is a price to be paid when one trespasses in a place like this. Someday soon, the curse will tighten around us. So if I recall correctly, this can actually kill someone, and it has a pretty high cost as far as influence goes. Rivals are cautious. They don't prowl the streets like hunters. To defeat one, we must prepare a trap and await our opportunity. Okay. Dormant Fifth Eye Curse. The Fifth Eye Curse has not yet taken effect. Okay, so we'll be okay with the prisoner. the Institute. Oh, just in time. And treasures lie before us. All right. I'd be a little careful on my notoriety production, I suppose. We'll kill the evidence, then we'll get a new body. Opening stone. The meteorite lies in the shattered temple, ridged like a sea creature, smoothed by its passage through the atmosphere. The old altar must have been crushed centuries ago, but the meteorite responds to our touch. It hums like wires in wind. Its surface shifts, and then it opens like an eye. Actually, there's one very small chance that I might be able to dodge the suppression bureau here. Actually, the more I think of it, no, we're probably going to get hit by the notoriety. All right, what has passed? The meteorite is cold and closed and silent. The sand of centuries lies untouched upon it, but here in our hands are the treasures we found within. Okay. So we have got the manner in which the alchemist was spared. We have got Medusa's lament, another wildering mirror, and the focus of amber. Oh, that's an important fact. I've been able to go to the Peacock store and I've not taken the opportunity. I don't know if I have my notebook anywhere nearby though. Okay, Season of Visions is done. We are going to need to eat the hapless prisoner, so under normal circumstances I would... Actually, you know what? We already have the notoriety. In 39 seconds that's going to trigger, so we're actually going to send Saliba out on the job. But then how do I preserve the Percussigant and the Callagine? Or do I just roll the dice on... Oh, you know what? I'm going to start doing some very silly things. So I messed up the timings on all of this. We're just going to go straight into Messana. Messana, where the villagers routinely remain hale and vigorous past their 100th year. They will resist attempts to pry into their secrets, and they may have curses at their disposal, even if we can penetrate the desert to reach them. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to prepare myself against a trial. So let's go to the white door and see if we can get a favor from Baldemera. Now I can approach the white door through the bounds. Now I can press my fingers to it, feel its trill, watch it swing open. As it opens, my mouth closes, tightens, heals over like a lost deformity. Around and about me is the cobalt light of the mantis. I put 2 unresolved ambiguities, didn't I? Drat. I meant to do, Oh wait, was it? Sorry, I think I meant to put forbidden epics. Okay, let me just take a second here and think about the work slot. So I don't have commissions to do yet. So what I was originally thinking was that I could try painting. Oh, you know what? Yeah, I could have tried to destroy the evidence. All right. So yeah, I was thinking of trying a painting, which would then get rid of the notoriety for a period of time. But I believe the painting doesn't last long enough. And of course, we are going to be abducting someone. Well, you know, it's only 26 seconds, so let's... Well, but it won't get me that much money. You know what? Let's not overcomplicate it. Let's just work at the Institute. I'm a little annoyed that I chose the wrong challenge, though. Okay, so the Watchers we should be fine. Mortals, perhaps even ordinary mortals, but quite a number of them. They can be fought, seduced, or deceived. We have Desolation again, and the Creeping Breath Curse, Heart or Grail. So this should be a little bit more straightforward. So we'll add Forge first, then a Heart. Oh, sorry, probably Forge, Moth, then Heart, and then of course we'll need the extra money as well. Balked. My studies have been stymied for now. So I suppose if we get fascination from one of these texts, this can work differently, but... I've drunk the light of their mind, it thrills and fills me, the marks brighten in me. So, the 6th mark is said to occur when the flesh between the finger and thumb can be pulled to the final finger joint. My skin is very loose now. I think that my bones are beginning to soften. My eyes are not a human color. So this is the 6th mark. Technically, we can pursue the Ascension. But doing so in our current state is actually quite difficult. We'll give you a sample of that in just a moment. Okay, so Lodge of the Sage Knight. I mean, it might give me Fascination, which is sort of an advantage in its own way. Subtle Fracture, so I suppose if I want to summon something. Clouds part, walls creak, old wounds ache. Actually, that might be an idea. We can get sort of a pocket Callagine for some more evidence destruction. Last night, in the great pavilion above the grey sprawl of the Bounds, a woman who once called herself Teresa Gallagher sat on gilt-fringed cushions and offered me a horn cup of dream wine. The wine is imaginary, she explained, but the cup is not. To navigate the Mansis, one must understand the distinction. Perhaps one day you'll join me on the pilgrimage, or I'll join you. So here, let us share a secret, and her breath tickled my ear. Okay, let's go for... Yeah, we'll go for another trip to the White Door. Out in the night, my followers whispering words that sometimes they might mean. Even if their victim knows the words are lies, they may not care. Okay. So study-wise, I thought I was going to go down one path, but I might go down another now. So let me just take a second to think. The focus on Amber is now a higher priority. So the ambiguity doesn't help me because I don't have Fascination. Why do I think I'm about to get Fascination? Excuse me. Yeah, something was giving me the impression that I thought I was going to have a Fascination. Anyways, let's read the focus of Amber. Oops, sorry, we need to translate it first. The penance work of Omar the Blaze, and our forge skills should keep us safe and lead us through the baking rocks to the green places. We'll almost certainly be fine. I think I'll take the chance to add a little money now. I've done some good. My patients are quieter than when I began. Okay. So I'll give an example of the, so each rite can be used for many purposes. For summoning, I must begin by calling upon the power of knock, which will open the way. Actually, maybe one thing I can do, desire my ultimate aim, there will be a price, and the marks of light. I may seek immortality and enlightenment in the hour called the Watchman. His touch brings particular appetites and marks. Okay. I'm trying to remember if there's anything about the Ascension itself that says that the 6 is the highest level, but if you take a look at the requirements, what might I become? This slot only accepts the final stage of the Ascension. If you have achieved the 6th mark, add your Ascension to this slot to complete a great work. So the 7th mark. The 7th mark is the Incursus. I am close as the light at the shadow's edge. I will need all the power of Lantern I can muster to at least the 36th degree of intensity. So right now we would be able to bring in 12 from the lore. We are not a lantern cult, so the best we could do would be to take one of the assistants. Now, in this case, this would need an influence. So essentially, I'm looking for a level 19 influence, which is clearly not happening. But of course, that's not my only option. So in terms of items, I've got the Incursus, which is 12. I think that is my strongest lantern. The Wild Ring Mirror, I think, is the same level. But even then, right, 36 is quite a bit. I would need basically, I suppose for any of these standard ones, we've got 3 plus the desire, so I would need 12 for each of them. Or I would need, which again in the case of a follower is impossible, or I would need to make up the balance with something else. But again, we're not quite at the point where we want to pursue the ascent anyway. Oh, but I do want to use my work slot. And of course I need to maintain this, so I want to make sure that I have a prisoner on hand. Oh, sorry, I was going to use the subtle fracture for the evidence. Drat. Right, my minion is returned, attended by a prisoner rendered docile with delight. Okay, what can I do talk-wise? I guess I can get commissions. I mean, there's the other thing I could do, which is to just talk with a follower about... Or can I talk? I know Sulochana you can sort of talk with them about everything, but I can't recall if you can talk about influence with a follower. Okay. I need to repair stuff anyway, so let's take care of... I'm not letting Natalia anywhere near my mirrors. So you can begin to repair this, but it will take at least a silver spintrea to purchase the necessary materials. So yeah, I can't talk to... Enid prefers to close her eyes rather than to look at me. She says it hurts to look. She says it with such longing that I can't take offense. Again, I'm kind of looking at this with some nerves. Oh, I think I thought I was going to get Fascination because I was visiting the Mansis. In last night's dream, I was in the Lodge of the Sage Knight behind the White Door. It is difficult to remember exactly how I came there, and the mistress of this place, the woman with the dark glasses, was nodding as if I had asked her a difficult question. Of course I hadn't. I lost my speech when I passed the White Door. How is it that I can speak, she said to me. I didn't come here through the White Door. I'm not proud of what I did to come here, so let me tell you about something else. Okay. Once again to the White Door. Basically, until we've eliminated the threat of the evidence, I don't want to leave that to chance. Let's add a moth follower now, Sylvia, if you please. And let's read the book. So, Focus of Amber. Omar the Blaze spent 7 years manning a lighthouse in Tyre in atonement for the extinguishing of a sacred flame. By the end of his stint, he was so terrified of fire that he could not stand to share a room with a candle. This work was written in partial penance. Omar claims that the hour called Watchman is both a god who is flesh, an hour who is mortal, and a god from light, an hour who is descended from the glory, but adds finally that the Watchman's origin is triple, and that in essence he is amber. Alright, so we've got the damning evidence, which... again, I'm worried about, but... Alright, this is possibly going to be inconvenient if this produces fascination. Oops. Okay, anything I want to do work-wise? Haven't asked for commissions yet, so not a lot I can do there. Let's see... I don't think I'm going to be able to summon a Callagine, but let's not assume... We can. Forge for the smoky spirit summoning, winter for its binding. It must know who will rule it. Are we really already out of time with the snare? Good lord. Okay. That's another thing I gotta add to my to-do list. I actually think getting rid of the... Yeah, getting rid of the... getting rid of the evidence is a higher priority than the snare. So let's fix that mirror. Look closer, closer still, closer. Keep looking, closer. Now close your eyes. So I'm not going to add the heart follower quite yet, just in case the watchers get the better of us. Oh, here we go. The third eye. Last night, I visited the lodge of the Sage Knight. My hostess manifested as an elegant woman with fashionably short hair and dark glasses. No, she admits, I don't need them any more than I need my eyes. Allow me my sentimentalities. But you've come here for knowledge, I expect. Here's a story I heard in my Carisham days. You're welcome to it. Only remember me if you come to make the pilgrimage. Okay. So the Watchman's Glass, I can't remember the level that it is. Okay, so we've got level 12 for an instrument as well. So if I recall correctly, so we can destroy an instrument. This would be sacrificing a follower. These two are tempting because of the, I can use the Ichor Vitreous for it. I should actually maybe double check what both of these take. And then of course there's the influence that we can get from the Mansis, but... Okay, the third eye is a myth, or the pineal gland. The fourth eye is a mark in certain processes of ascension. The fifth eye now opens before me. So I think it's too late for me to... I think if I find out what influence I need, it will be too late. So I'm going to take just, you know, I'll take the chance. I will go through the stag door, and if there's a chance that we get something out of it, so much the better. I'm going to leave the talk verb open so that we can try and get rid of the evidence. Yep, and we did wind up with fascinations. So that is really gonna... That's really gonna set me back. The Medusa's Lament might give us what we need. The Watchman, according to Omar, who was once another hour entirely, who ascended into the glory to escape efforts by other hours to send him to nowhere. Maybe that Omar's sense of persecution creeps into the narrative at this point. Certainly it grows less coherent, and the last part is devoted to attempts to prove that eyes, eggs, and the sun are in all some sense conjunct. So another mantra of ascent. If I want, I can try and upgrading this to the highest level, but I have some other tasks that I'd like to do before that. Now, Nock does occasionally produce some dread, and it is on the death of the hour called the Seven Coils, the father of the mother, so this might be a source for dread for us. I guess the more reasonable question at this point is there anything else I could be doing with the study verb right now that's more important? And really the answer is no here, so we'll translate it. Still wait on the talk verb. And if we lose the hapless prisoner, we will have to get Saliba to get another one, because I really do not want to have to work my way back up to the 6th mark. Alright, Callaghan, if you'd be so kind. My scheme will most likely succeed. There is always a chance that something will go awry. Oh, I was going to take a look at one of these rituals. Oh. Bewilderment is our opportunity. We will pass in silent secrecy. So now we will add Clovette to the group. Hopefully we won't have to deal with a second curse. So I want to be really careful. I don't have a huge window before we go to the Mansis, so I want to see what I'm going to need to get rid of the curse. The curse has taken hold. Now the world, rotting, leaks light. With enough heart influence, it will be possible to turn aside the curse. Okay, and it has to be the influence. So in this case, it's either an imminence or pounding airs, which I don't believe I can get from this spot. I mean, the best I could hope for would be the Ascent of Knives, but I'm near certain there's no heart. Okay, so you've got the Furious Air. Anger is implicit in every shape. Of the place my dreams took me last night, this has been written. The ascent is glass, the walls are knives, each step is blood. I did not climb far, the pain was too great. When I woke, that pain remained with me, a pain I could employ to occult purposes if I hurry. So, if I can, I would like to try and preserve the snare for as long as I can. Ooh. I'm playing with fire here, but... So, I don't see any way of getting a very high amount of heart influence within 56 seconds. The best I could hope for would be to go through, go through the Mansis. But even then, I'm going to need, the 60 seconds for that. So let's go for... I'm going to take a trip to the Peacock's Door. So the Peacock's Door has reflects the mirror I hold in my sleep, and the mirror reflects the Peacock's Door. Already a sensuous shiver ripples its surface. It aches for fracture, and when it finds that satisfaction, I will enter. And I do need to worry about sickness. Okay, so we'll read Medusa's Lament. We're partly hoping for dread here, so... the first part of the poem describes the ambush of the 7 coils by a warrior scarred all over by the traitor guards, scarred even unto his eyes, so that sight of the great coils would not destroy him. Of course, referencing the Colonel. Or I'm pretty sure referencing the Colonel, at least. Okay, so they're going to need 29 seconds, and I don't have enough. So we'll try and keep this snare alive for as long as we can here. Alright, is there another trick I can do to try and make this snare last? And all this stuff's going to last more than 15 seconds, so I'm pretty doubtful on it. I've done some good. My patients are quieter than when I began. Oh, yeah, they are totally trying to take the location. Ah! Arminian has returned. The evidence has been destroyed. I am a little safer. All right, this is complete nonsense, but our power is stronger than the power that was here. The curse won't touch us. My rival seeks tools and lore for their own ascension. Oh wow, that really takes a long time. So, something for me to keep in mind when I make another... Oh man, that sucks. I cannot stop seeing. If I look long enough, I will not wish to. Okay, so I gotta... In fact, I might potentially try and get the dread from the... Yeah. Oh, Jesus. Okay. This is running away from me. Treasures lie before us. That's fine. I need to find a source of dread, though, or fleeting reminiscence. Okay. Where's my notebook? So apparently it was in the Red Church before. Again, I'm assuming I'm reading these notes right. But, I mean, there's also the possibility that there's Dread in the Worm Museum, which for us is actually not that bad. So, okay. This is like the one time I'm not happy to get a Vagabond's map. So, the Vagabond, the 1 hour who can never enter the Mansis, but she goes everywhere else. And, if you believe her boast, she's the only one who knows all the histories. Sometimes she lets someone record her travels. So size in the mantis is negotiable, and so last night in the Worm Museum I saw one of the worms who took Vienna, caged next to a worm taken from the soul of a child. In dreams they are more visible than waking, smooth and dark as jewels. The walls bear stories of the First and Second Worm Wars. The third is too recent to have passed into the histories. So, I can go back to the Peacock Door, and the question would be, like, do I go... So the Red Church is dangerous because it can give me fascination, but if I go to the... Did I lose my pen? Sorry, just a second here. I did. Okay. So my best bet is probably if I go to the Stag Door, there's the possibility I can get some winter influence. We also can't do a full passion paint anymore. I'm gonna have to subvert some of my reason if it comes down to that. Okay, good. We're a little safer. The battle rages on until the Seven Coils drowns in its own blood, at which point the narrative turns mystical and elusive. Seven-title goddess arises from the foam of its blood. She's an armored queen, a serpent daughter, a key, a healer, a murderess, an oracle, but her seventh title is not revealed. Okay, let's go... I will translate, but I'm not going to work on the quasi-alchemical text in back. So if I need to, I can subvert some of my reason into passion, but for now I'm going to stick with what I've got. If there's another bold scheme that comes up, by the way, I am... I've got nothing I can do about it. My words cease like sand in a glass. So again, in the interest of preserving the snare, we're going to talk with the Callagine again. Beneath the granary, we find the deepest secret of Messana, an altar on which are displayed segments of an embalmed human body. A little of it still remains. The visitors must have been feasting on this for years. Is it long flesh? That might account for their longevity. Alright, now we can get away with the nonsense. I prepared a snare. I can try to set an ambush for my rival to defeat them, defeat their expedition and even injure them. So I guess the one bit of good news is that we don't need to worry about the notoriety, but of course now we just need to worry about everything else. Okay, so I do need a replacement prisoner now. I guess in the grand scheme of things... Did I just lose... Okay, there's the wood. Yeah, okay, that's fine. In the grand scheme of things, that's not too bad, because that's a little easier to replace. Items of note are displayed on the walls. They might be trophies from unwise travelers, or they might have been possessions of the Long. There is no indication whether the Long was a willing victim, an ancestor, or a prisoner, and we'll learn nothing from the villagers now. A Greek inscription on the altar reads, "For the Flood." Alright. So the Dream Team's ready to go. I have some Vagabond's maps. The sevenfold slaying of the Seven Coiled. I'm sensing a theme here. An account of the destruction of a primeval hour, a god who was stone. the Songs of the Carapace Cross. Micah, I think it's Micah Kai, but it's not in Greek, so I wouldn't know. And a Kingskin, I think it's Boran, but I'm really I know I'm not pronouncing it right. I just know I just don't know how to pronounce it correctly. Anyways, in the deep forests, the monarch gave up the last thing they had to give, and so the tool was shaped to keep their land forever safe. Then, of course, an empire stole it, as empires do. All right. I am tempted to just go and explore with a Vagabond's map again. The big challenge I have at the moment is just trying to keep all my summons around. But yeah, let's run with the Vagabond's map. What was I trying to get here again? Oh yes, the winter influence possibly. The Ascent of Knives is called the Sharp Stair and the Mother of Mirrors and the Feast of the Grail. If one is to look beneath the stair as I did last night in my dreams, one understands the last name. It draws a tithe of blood from the feet of those who ascend. In Pausai, some shaped like men, many shaped like women, wait beneath the glass of the stairs to satisfy their hunger. I did not approach, I made no sound, I only observed. So let's clear out the Affliction first. I know it'll cost me money, but that's life. And yeah, I think I want to clear out the fascination before I mess with any more texts. So let's translate instead. The one exception might actually be for this one. Lock the study door, the work begins. Words cease like sand in a glass. All right, so I'm always reluctant to, to let sort of summons rot out like that, but there are higher priorities. So in terms of the list of things that I want to deal with, priority number 1 is to preserve the 6th mark, because that is how I'm going to win, at least as far as these talk jobs are concerned. Priority number 2 is to prepare another snare. And while it is true that I can lose to a rival ascending too quickly, I generally find it is better to play games to win as opposed to playing them to not lose. Even though I do have generally have a very passive way of playing Cultist Simulator, I do find it's usually better to take action as opposed to prepare for all the contingencies. So that's why the snare is the secondary consideration. And then after that, getting rid of reputation, but we have other ways of getting rid of reputation, so that's not as pressing. Right, my rival has met with a misfortune. They have been scarred by their defeat. They will be angry with me. So this is the first scar. We have 2 resentment with Connie, but that was because we attempted to take her out as opposed to succeeded. Alright, Temple of the Seven Coils, a crumbling temple in a shadowed defile. It was built, it seems, in the 3rd history, the one where much later the worms overran Europe, but it exists in all histories now. Alright, we will jump straight in. Site will tolerate no life, says the journal of Zane Mark Gentis, so we will find no serpents there. But the place sounds cursed, and Gentis recorded a door that his expedition could not open. So I want to try and add the 2nd Callagine as quickly as I can. Actually, just as oh, no, I can't bring in the Callagine, fair enough. Let's say do want to go back to the peacock door, but it's not quite as important as trying to get rid of this fascination right now. So another season of suspicion, so they're definitely gonna find a reason to get mad at us, but keep forgetting to translate. So I know I'm at the end. I am just taking a quick second here to free up the work slot, and that's because I wanted to. So this is mostly exploratory right now, but I'm thinking if I were not to have, so there's another ritual that we can still find, but if I were to try and ascend with my existing material now, I would be most interested in the ones that give up this ingredient. So we've got an invocation and an instrument. Okay, yeah, so for instance, if we do the Ichor Vitreous, oh my goodness, can we actually get away with this? And then invocate the Mantra of Ascent, that's our 36. Tune in next episode for the thrilling conclusion to the story of Lord Stabbe, the physician. I am a little reluctant to make this the last one, because I was thinking I might be able to get away with this. I'm reluctant to make this the last one because I am aware that this is not the best broadcast that I've done. I'm not actually. I don't want to fully. So there's one very minor reason why I'm actually going to hold off on doing this at the very end of this episode, but partly just because I know this wasn't really the best one. So I can kind of get that people would be shutting off, and yeah. Anyways, there's actually there's a. I don't want to talk too much about what I have in mind, but there's a reason I'll give this to another episode. I am, however, going to try and give myself another day to see if I can be in a little bit better shape for recording a future episode. But at least we, now that we have what we need to ascend. But with that in mind, thank you very much for watching. I will do my best to try and make sure the next episode is a little bit more lively. And as always, if you enjoyed the episode or are not yet subscribed to the series, please consider subscribing to the channel. And if you can leave a like, or if you want to leave a comment, I do always like seeing those, and try to respond as often as I can. But until next time, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.